Everybody, and welcome to another edition of XCW Freetime Interview. I am your host, Fletch, and we are joined here by diehard Corey Lee. And Corey has actually had a Freetime Interview all the way back in 2012, and we're going to have the opportunity to sit down here. We're going to go back through all the original questions, and we're going to compare your answer to modern day versus back in the day. So this is fun. I have a lot of fun doing it.
Was this like beginning 2012 or in 2012?
This would have been, I believe, the beginning of 2012.
Okay.
No, this would have been the end of 2012 because I believe you do discuss a little bit of your storyline with Hazard. So, all right, let's get into this. Favorite XCW superstar to watch?
Favorite XCW superstar to watch? This is a tough one. I'd probably say I got a couple. Brogan O'Shea right now, and I actually enjoy watching Brady Branson. And Jesse Justice. I love his unorthodox style he has.
Your original was Fletch, James Cerebral, and Hazard. Is it just a matter of changing of the times? I mean, obviously, as XW's evolved, our ability has evolved, and so...
Yeah. I'd say it's changing of the times. I mean, you're still up there because you still change your style as we progress and we get older. Hazard added a few new moves here and there, but he relatively stayed the same, and I'd have to say that's the same for James Cerebral.
On the flip side of that, you've had the opportunity to work with every single person that we've mentioned so far. Who was your favorite superstar that you've had the opportunity to work with?
Oh man, this is a hard one. God, there are a lot, but if I had to,
you got a long list of people you've got to work with over the years. So
I'll pick a current one and I'll pick one from the past.
Sure.
Current one would probably be Brogan O'Shea, and the past would probably be you.
All right. I'm technically not past yet. I probably should be, but I'm not yet.
I mean, you still put your nose in my business all the time, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Starstruck? Yeah, I'm going to ruin that.
Yep.
Your original answer was Chris Jones. But then Kobe died. So, now you've had the opportunity, to work so many shows, so many Summer Manias, so many Halloween Havocs, Harvests over the years. Is there a show that stands out to you just think was the best show of XCW's entire history?
I would have to say, I think it was, it'll be a Summer Mania, and it was, I think it was 2020 when I faced Brogan in the ladder match.
Mania 15. Yeah.
I think that entire card was fantastic.
I agree.
Every single match, everybody was on it that day. It was just like, I feel like it was the perfect show.
I mean, I had a broken foot, but I got through it.
You got through it.
Your original answer was SummerMania 6, which would have been your match where you're in the King of the Mountain and won the international title. I wrestled Hazard in a death match in the main event.
Isn't that where you get like set on fire? You like
yeah,
never
it was
again?
the flaming barbed wire thumbtack table. Yeah, I never did it again.
You're like, don't ever do that.
How'd you get your start here in XCW?
The first time I showed up was SummerMania before SummerMania.
SummerMania 5, yeah.
Because I came with Brandon Hobbs, because me and Brandon have been friends for a certain long time. And I talked to him about it, and then he introduced me to you, and then we talked about it, and then just went from there.
Yeah. Yeah, the match is right up. Yeah, SummerMania 5, for some reason, like, it doesn't stand out a whole lot, but it really should. It was the first King of the Mountain in history. The cruiserweights were really hot at the time. We had a 4-way cruiserweight title match. We had a Texas Bull Rope with Chris Jones and Hazard for the International, myself and Cynical for the XCW. It was a stacked card. Now, on the flip side of that, we've had some really, really shit days. Anything that stands out as the worst show in XCW?
It would be the show we did that was like next door.
Yep, Emergence.
That was, I'll take the blame for that because I pushed for that show. That's completely my fault.
I don't know if it was necessarily the location. It just didn't like. I think everybody was hyped, ready to go, and then we kind of got out of the mode when we're like, well, we're not going to be able to do this. And then we're like, fuck it, let's do it. And then by then, I feel like everybody was kind of out of the mindset. Biggest moment in XCW history.
In XCW history. God, that's...
Oh, and your original answer on the last one was anything that had KKK in it. Forgot to answer that.
Why does that still stand the test of time?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So the worst show in XCW was anything that involved KKK.
Okay,
I guess I can't disagree.
This is a tough one. Honestly, it's hard to choose anything in this one.
Yeah, there's been a lot of big moments, especially in the last few years. I mean, I feel like it's one big moment after another after another.
I mean, yeah, you have the big moments that have included Brady Branson, Brogan O'Shea. I mean, DJ Wahlberg coming back. Nobody expected him to come back.
Brandon Hogg breaking his foot on a moonsault.
Brandon Hogg's breaking his foot, tying her and breaking his leg.
Yeah.
Some of the injuries that have happened just out of nowhere. I mean, honestly, it's current, but I probably have to say with the progress Brogan has made, I'm surprised. Like, nobody thought Brogan would ever reach the spot he's reached.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was given that one chance, and that was in the match with you. I wouldn't say it's the biggest in XCW history, but currently I think it is for the fact that never imagined him to be as over and as good as he is now compared to when he started.
What about for you? What's your biggest moment in XCW? Your original answer was your debut.
My debut? I'd have to say the international title match with Brogan.
Oh, okay. The ladder match you guys had at
Yes.
SummerMania 15.
Because I don't know why, I feel like that one really was special for me. That year I think I was really on it that year.
Yeah.
Like really on it. And that was like the first time I've been on it that good since like 2012. And I was kind of just, floating through the...
And I kind of feel like, when somebody asks me my opinion of what I think were the best seasons of XCW, those are the two seasons right off the bat that come out of my mouth. 2012, 2020 were phenomenal years. 2020 was a shit year for most people, and I loved it. I thought it was a great year. I mean, maybe just because it was such a successful XCW year, but I thought things were great. Now, 2021, fuck you.
I feel like it really hinges on the effort people are going to put in.
Yeah.
If you think you're just having a bad year, you're not continuously putting the effort in to better that year, then you're going to have a bad year. Like, I don't think my 2021 was great. I did what I needed to do that year, but I don't feel it was that great.
Now, you've had a lot of big moments in your XCW career over the years, transitioning from cruiserweight to international, taking over leadership of the Untouchables. Winning your first championship, main eventing a Summer Mania with Brandon Hobbs and Genocide. You later, in XCW's honor, defeated EBW single-handedly, right?
Yes.
What is the biggest turning point, in your opinion, for your career in XCW?
When I faced Hazard in 2012. I feel that was the biggest turning point for me because I really feel I took off then. Like, I was heel then, so I feel like my heel persona really was coming through then. I really enjoyed the feud with Hazard. And I feel like that was the moment, that match, that feud is what made me a star.
Yeah, and I think we took everybody on a roller coaster during that entire run, that entire story. The only regret I think that I have is that I overbooked it by including myself. It should have just been between the two of you. But they go to the finish, without hurting you by losing to Hazard, involving me to kind of be the one to poke my nose in your business and make you lose was a way of protecting you when you were at your hottest.
Yeah.
So, in a way, like, it made sense, but I do think it was a little overbooked, including me in those last few months. Your original answer was losing the Cruiserweight Championship and then winning the International, you thought was the biggest turning point. And I can agree. Definitely within the time frame of your original answer. Yeah. Bar none. That's it. Now, unfortunately for you and I think out of the entire XCW roster, past or present, that includes everyone over 20 years, I think me and you, especially in the last handful of years, have been the most unlucky when it comes to sustaining injuries. And
yes.
I think a lot of it is just because me and you both are two of the guys that just went completely hard in the paint for so many years. And just like me, you had never missed a single show or a season, versus like guys like even Chris Jones, who missed a year, and Genocide's missed a year, and Hazard's missed a year. Me and you were consistent. But injuries have definitely hit us pretty hard in the last few years. But what's the worst injury you sustained during your time in XCW?
Well, most people are going to think it's my torn ACL that happened. I will say that is not the case because when I tore the ACL, I just felt the kind of like pop, and it just went. It didn't hurt at all. It hurt if I kind of put a little pressure on it, but the knee would give. I wouldn't say it's my herniated disc in my back, even though it hurts to stay for like 5 minutes. I would probably say
I have a hip right now that's just fucking killing me.
Probably when I partially tore my meniscus in a dark match with DJ Wahlberg, because it's the first time I've ever had to say cut the camera. I've never had to say it before. I didn't do it when I tore my ACL, but it's because we did that test of strength, and I went down, and my knee just went right in, and it popped straight up my leg. Oh God, it was like some of the worst pain I've ever had in my life.
It's wild too, because I think throughout the years, like Cynical's like, man, one of the worst weapon shots I've ever taken was a milk jug to the head, and like, oh my milk jug, and like it's the things that you don't really see or like notice are the worst. Like when you had the ACL injury initially, and you were wrestling James Cerebral, and you guys just did a simple move on the ropes.
Yeah.
You can't tell watching the match that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, other than you going down and then rolling out of the ring, beyond that, like,
I still finished the season on that too. And
yeah.
I mean, my knee was okay in enough time for me to finish wrestling the season after I tore my meniscus.
Yeah. And to the point of your original, you hadn't had any injuries.
No injuries by then.
So on the flip side of that, what's the worst injury you've witnessed?
Oh man, this is a hard one. I don't want to say Tommy breaking his leg. I think it's when James Cerebral jumped off the roof and broke his ankle. That wasn't recorded. It wasn't in the show, but this was when it was cold.
His bones sticking out.
Like he jumped off the roof because people were like, "Hey, jump off the roof, you'll be okay." And he jumped off, landed right in a hole, broke his ankle.
Yeah.
Had to call the ambulance and everything.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad. I think a lot of people, when that question's asked, they think of stuff that's happened on camera, but that's definitely one of the most gruesome things I have ever seen. And pretty much any time I watched an Awesome Chaos match, he was hurt. So No, I'm just kidding. Your original answer was cynical cutting his finger, which was, to that point, I mean, he had fucking finger guts hanging out, so I can agree with that. Has there ever been a time where you just wanted to give up, hang those boots, quit XCW?
Oh, God.
Well, your original answer is no, but...
I feel like there'd be a couple times, yes, because, I mean, depression, and sometimes you just don't want to get out of bed and stuff like that. I'm sure there's, almost positive there's been a couple times, like we all quit until the end, and we did that because I went to go do training at All Star, which was a mistake.
Yeah, some of us were forced, some of us had the option, but yeah.
But that was a mistake, and then we came back and we rebuilt the show. So
2017 was so good too, so good, such a good season. That's my number 3. 2012, 2017, and 2020, awesome seasons. So your character has changed throughout the years. You know, first you were, straight edge, and then we transitioned a little more into a little edgier side of yourself. You're still played in the straight edge, but you kind of straddled that line, and then we eventually. And even much to your disagreement, we made you a movie star, and God damn it, it worked. It worked. And then here, in the last season or so, you've definitely taken on more of the persona of being XCW Salvation. What is the worst gimmick you've ever witnessed, though?
I don't want to say it's the worst gimmick, but it's worse because of the person behind it, and I would say Nemesis.
Your original was KKK, but you mentioned Nemesis in the original.
I'd have to say it's definitely, to me, Nemesis, because you gave him a good gimmick, and he completely ruined it.
Yeah. It was originally supposed to be me, and then we just decided it wasn't the right time, and I didn't, and I really wanted to get that character off the ground, and it just didn't work. And then, on the flip side of that, I'm like, well, Nemesis was already been used, so now we gotta transition. So I tried the character again with Void.
Yeah.
And nobody was believing that big 300-pound motherfucker was bullied. So it didn't work. Flip side, best gimmick.
Best gimmick. Damn. Should I do past and present?
Yeah.
Well, present, I would say Jesse Justice. Because he goes all out for his gimmick.
Yeah,
like,
he's so unorthodox. And you can do so many weird things with him. I mean, he tied you up and made you a puppet. So
He did.
Tried to make me piss myself.
Past. God. This is a hard one. Probably one of your gimmicks, because you went through a ton of different gimmicks.
Yeah.
And every gimmick that you've had, though, has worked.
Yeah.
Everything you've done has worked. Company King, that's worked.
Yeah.
The virus, that's worked. Everything. So I'd have to probably say something you've done in the past.
I think people would be surprised at my answer. I was a big fan of Desmond Cross. It just wasn't put on the right person.
Yeah, wasn't put on the right person. Just doesn't seem like it was the right time.
Right. Your original answer was Hazard.
Yeah.
Who is also, he kind of changed up things a little bit. He kind of went to the snobby, retired guy with the hand sanitizer. I think the unique thing about Hazard wasn't necessarily that his character changed. It was just there were so many unique things you could do judged around his name and character.
Yeah.
Like all this, I think to this day, Hazard probably has the best WrestleMania special entrances ever. I just
would have to agree.
Yeah. How do you prepare for a match?
I try to make sure I stretch before a match. That way I don't injure myself like I have been.
Yeah. Well, you stretched back in the day, so it worked then, and it's not so much now.
Not so much now. I haven't been doing what I should do when it comes to stretches beforehand. I usually just prepare by talking out a match, getting, beginning, end, probably a middle, and then just going from there. But
it's a more reasonable answer than Chris Jones' original answer, which was he didn't have sex. pre-match rituals? You have any?
Um,
You really just said stretch. Well,
really just the stretching and trying to get into the mental mindset of getting into my persona, you know.
One thing I know that you hate 100%, because I'm with you. Chops. Who is the worst?
Well, I've never had your chops. Because see, I don't go to chop wars with Fletch here.
Chris only gets it because he calls for it. So
Honestly, I'd say Brandon Hobbs, because I tell him every match he hits me once, that's all he gets. He gets one shot. That's it.
And when he was Dorgon, he did double hand, which really fucking stung.
He'd make me so mad. Oh God, I tell Genocide the same thing. He'll chop me in the corner, and I'm like, that's all you get.
He pisses me off because he'll chop and then he throws that punch. Like he gets so into the mode.
Chop, punch,
Then he,
chop, punch.
He chops and that hurts already. But then like I'm selling that,
Yeah.
and then he punches me in the face.
Oh, me and him go at it with those forearms now. We do that more than the chops, so we light each other up with forearms.
Your original answer was Brandon Hobbs, so Hobbs just knows how to light some people up. Now speaking of Hobbs, one of the things that I loved about Brandon Hobbs, watching him, was some of the unique moves that he had in his arsenal. You know, the Omega Driver, the Hardcore Drive, the Hardcore Flatliner. He had so many unique, devastating looking moves. What, in your opinion, is the best finishing move in XCW history?
In XCW history.
If you say FML, it's okay, I understand.
I mean, it is the point where I hit people with it, and they usually never, ever kick out, so it's a one and done.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have to go with your current finisher. I absolutely love taking it. I love watching it.
Yeah, a lot of people like taking it. I do it a lot.
It's
I never win, but I do it a lot.
He doesn't win. He's right.
Yeah, that's an ongoing joke with myself and ACT. He's always like, well, Fletch is the match winner who wins.
Well, I mean, think of this. You hit the move, you never win. But Baron Corbin hits the move, he wins.
That's true. I'm just shitting the bed all the way around. Your original answer was the FML, so that's why I wasn't mad if you... I agree. The FML, like, you pretty much ended Psychore's life. So.
I did. That's why it was named the FML. Because I broke his teeth. It's just... Sorry, Justin.
Biggest influence pro wrestling wise for you growing up that really made you want to do this?
Thinking about it now and looking back, I would say Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho and CM Punk are my biggest influences in pro wrestling. I mean, Stone Cold. I absolutely love Stone Cold. But I'd have to definitely say Chris Jericho.
I was kind of surprised by your original answer. You said Randy Orton, which I kind of felt like leans more to Chris Jones.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surprising. You do a version of the RKO now, though.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
Yes.
Now, throughout the years, I've put you through the ringer. I've put you in pretty much every match possible. Is there any certain match that stands out as your favorite concept?
Favorite concept?
You didn't have to necessarily be in it, but...
Favorite concept match? It's hard not to choose a ladder match, because I've always been in ladder matches, and ladder matches are usually one of my favorite matches to do. But I would probably have to say Clockwork, House of Fun, or a death match. Those are my favorite. Clockwork more so, because death matches, usually there's just nasty spots more of the time involved.
Yeah, you don't really get it. Like, death matches, the only thing that I don't necessarily like about death matches, you'll probably agree, is that it's just literally one devastating weapon spot after another, after another, after another.
Yep.
And I like to be able to wrestle in the match, tell a story, and have those objects that you incorporate into what you do as a moveset. And I think that's something that like you and Tommy did extremely well in Full Metal Madness.
Yeah, that's why like my wife even said, like, this previous death match we had, she did not enjoy it because all it was big spots the entire time. No wrestling involved really. Like, they would just do big weapon spots.
Yeah. And I think that's just what a death match is initially. I mean, it's just I don't recall really doing a whole lot of my movesets in the death matches that I was involved in either. And
Yeah.
I don't think you did much in yours as well.
No,
so
me and Hazard didn't do a whole lot in ours either.
I think it's just kind of the mindset of the match.
That's why I enjoy the clockwork, because you really combine. I really try to think of ways to combine moves with the weapons in that match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's one of the cool things about a ladder match, which was your original answer. It's like you incorporate your ladder into things that you already do within your character and your arsenal, and you just kind of incorporate what you have into the match. And I think it's one of the reasons why people have gravitated so much to the recent Winds of Chains. Now on that same topic, you've been in all these different matches over the years. What's the worst weapon shot you've received?
Oh man, this is a real hard one to think of. I know one, and that's the cookie sheet I got hit by
Hazard.
by Hazard. He brought it from Wendy's.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really thick boy.
Yep.
And he smoked me with that, threw it away, and he said never again. I did not pick it up. He didn't pick it up. We never used it again.
Yeah, I think we had one that was just like that, and it actually hurt Stephen Raines. And Stephen Raines quit the damn company over it.
Another one I would probably say, it wasn't really taking the weapon shot, but when me and Chris wrestled, I think it was the EBW match, I think. He, maybe not, it might have been something different. But he like...
Did he hit you with a radiator?
He hip tossed me into the radiator.
Yeah.
That sucked. That really sucked. Oh my God, that hurt.
Your original answer was a chair shot from Justin Sane. That's just because, well, it's Justin Sane. He probably didn't know what the hell he was doing.
That might have been the chair shot in that cruiserweight match that we watched not too long ago. He probably made me mad.
So everybody is going to be watching this on our channel, XC Wrestling 1, anticipating this question. Because if they've ever watched this show, they know this question's coming. Where do you see yourself in 6 months from now in XCW?
Oh, well, that's a real easy question to answer. Unfortunately, I plan to retire. I plan to retire and not wrestle at all this year. I am going to go ahead and wrestle one time, and that is at a Ground Zero for a Cold Day Ground Zero. It's not Cold Day itself, but a Cold Day Ground Zero. I'm going to wrestle at that, but I am going to be retiring this year.
Your original answer was XCW Champion, which I think is kind of the
go-to.
Yeah. Fastest rising star in XCW history. I think you are in that conversation, but who do you think, in your opinion, is the fastest rising star?
Hayden Vex. Hands down, Hayden Vex.
I agree.
Over anybody else in the company, I don't care who you are, Hayden Vex is the fastest rising star in this company today.
Bar none. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, Chris Jones won his first championship within his first 5 months in XCW, but I agree. Hayden Vex is it. Hayden Vex has accomplished more things in 2 seasons than most people do in 15. He's definitely it. Your original answer was James Cerebro.
Yeah, he rose pretty quick too. Yeah.
And I mean, at the time of your last recording, I mean, James Cerebro was only a year in and was, had already been part of the Untouchables and had done, a lot of things. So I agree. Now, James Cerebro is a name that him and I collectively came up with. You and I came up with what your name was going to be, and there's been so many good names throughout the years. But who has the best name in XCW's history?
That's a tough one, but I'd have for me, I would have to say Jason Arcane.
I can agree.
I absolutely loved his name. Jason Arcane was great.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I tell people that all the time. I feel like that one's one of my biggest pats on the back is Jason Arcane. Your original answer was Corey Lee.
Well, see, back then I was a little cocky back then,
Who should be in the XCW Hall of Fame that has not yet made it into the Hall? And yes, you are in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I am.
I didn't forget.
Yes.
People,
you
said I did.
You did, because you were like, it's not here, it doesn't exist. But we found it. We found it. I beat Tommy in there, and that's all that matters.
That's right.
That's all that matters. So remember that, Tommy. Who should be in the Hall of Fame that's not yet in the Hall of Fame?
Your original answer was Corey Lee.
God, what was wrong with me back then? Did I just decide to stay in kayfabe?
Maybe.
This entire interview?
Maybe.
Oh, man. God.
It's hard because there are a lot of good people
Yeah.
that are already in.
I'd have to say Brady Branson. Brady Branson.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's crazy to think of Brady Branson 2017.
Yep.
And we were calling him Mitchell Maverick.
Yep.
And to be what Brady is now, it's unbelievable. Talk about fast rising star. Talk about somebody who improved. He is it. And you know, because there's so many people that's gone into the hall, I'll announce it right here. This year, the Viewer's Choice 2022, we're going to be inducting only one person. The second one is going to be replaced by, for the first time ever, tag team nominations.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
great.
this year we'll be doing the special,
Mm-hmm.
one Hall of Fame, and the tag team. So, what theme song that you've come out throughout the years that's pumped you up the most on your way to the ring?
God, it's a tie between my current theme and Alone by Bullet for my Valentine.
Which was your original answer? You go above and beyond, I think, more than anyone when it comes to theme songs, because you actually got permission from the band No Resolve to use your current theme song.
I also got permission from another band for one of their songs that I have not used, but I got permission from them as well. But yeah, I think it helps that they're more unknown, really.
Yeah.
And so
I try to tell people, hey, try to go a little more, less known, a little less mainstream when you're picking a theme.
Yeah.
So yeah. Babyface or heel?
Honestly, either. Because I feel like I can work either one.
I agree. Yeah, I think you're one of the few people that you can place in any part. Like, to this day, I think your biggest babyface run was probably Starstruck.
Yeah.
And you actually started as a heel in that role, and then you somehow flipped your movie role persona into a babyface, and it still worked.
I think flipping over to face for that was helpful because of when I got injured, and then I had the surgery. I came back Extreme King.
Right.
I came back babyface.
Yeah, but the fact that you could maintain that character as a babyface is, in my opinion, would be insanely hard, and you found a way to pull it off, and it was great. I mean, you guys had an awesome feud with the Freedom Fighters. On the flip side of that, your heel run, it has to be 2012.
Yeah.
Were you ever camera shy?
Yes, still am.
Yeah, you. Your answer then too.
It's the smile. That's when you know. It's just I kind of get a little nervous, but I think the smile, the smirk has become a part of the gimmick, a part of the character. So it helps.
Did you have any wrestling experience before XCW?
No, I didn't.
Who were you trained by once you arrived in XCW in 2009?
I'm pretty sure it was Hazard, wasn't it?
Your original answer was Chris Jones.
Was it
Brandon Hobbs?
Brandon Hobbs? Okay, so it was Chris, because Chris and I think Hazard, they made a bet between me and Justin Sane.
You're right.
And they were going to see.
I forgot about that.
They made a bet to see who was going to actually rise up and be better star, and then I came out on top, so Chris won the bet. So,
man, that's right, Hazard. Stick that in your juice box and fucking suck it. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about you being a part of the Untouchables, which, not your fault, but the second iterations are never as good as the first ones.
Yeah.
But you kind of led Team XCW. You were a part of Loyalty, Starstruck Entertainment. You were Straight Edge Solution. You've had quite a few runs and tag teams and factions within the company. But overall, what was the best team or stable that you've seen in XCW?
I've seen in XCW. EBW. I'm going to have to say EBW because the entire storyline we had behind EBW, and I think each person fit.
Yeah.
And
Everybody had a role. Even Mitchell Maverick had a role within EBW. Yeah.
Just like you would think, like Chris Jones is the one who's the leader, but to me it was
Gabe.
It was Gabe and James Cerebral.
Yeah.
James Cerebral was all about EBW.
Yeah.
Straight up. Period.
Still to this day, I think he waves the EBW flag more than he does our own. Your original answer was VK3.
Yeah.
Who do you personally not like, past or present, or both, in XCW?
See, this is hard because I don't really hate anybody.
I love your original answer.
or anything like that. I'd probably have to say it's different now, but before it would be Ox Cannon because the way
you guys definitely had a falling out.
The way he talked to Emily, and that didn't sit well with me. So before it'd be Ox Cannon. It's different now. Like I don't have a problem with Ox. I could easily talk to Ox, wrestle Ox if he ever came back. Anything like that. I have no issue. But like in the show currently, I don't have an issue with anybody at all.
Nemesis.
Nemesis? Oh my god.
I'm picking on their retard. So you came into an era in XCW where storylines really started to pick up and really started to take shape, whereas in the early years it was just like you have a match.
Mm-hmm.
That was how it went. Best storyline in XCW history, in your opinion? And actually, I want to hear it. What was your favorite storyline that you've been a part of as well? Two-part here. I'm interested to hear that.
The best one I've been a part of?
Yeah.
That would be me and Hazard, 2012, period. Just hands down. Because, we had Karen involved. And then, she turned out to be pregnant during the storyline.
Yeah.
Claire came into the picture.
I think even during that storyline, you even FML'd Emily.
I believe I did.
Yeah.
But, me and Hazard worked on that story. You chimed in with stuff that we should do as well. And I feel like, as a whole, that story just was great. And, if I had to pick another one, that I wasn't a part of.
Yeah, the best of all time.
God, that's a...
Your original answer was anything with Tommy, so is Tommy in it?
Anything with Tommy? Honestly, I don't think Tommy would be in it. If I had to pick current, I would say...
So you can pick of all time. Best story of all time. So it's so broad, though.
It is broad, and I don't want to leave any of the vets out or anything like that from back then or anything like that, because everybody's had some good stories, period. Currently, the build-up we did with Genocide right now, where he went back to acid, that was great. It's great. The only thing that I feel like is the downfall of that is not all the matches were great.
Right.
Just I think...
Brogan and Brady.
Brogan and Brady was extremely good, but I feel a couple other matches, fell short. But that doesn't make the storyline bad.
Right.
Justin's redemption storyline, he had, win world title again.
Yeah. And that's what made him Superstar of the Year.
It was great.
Being able to tell that story.
So honestly, I think it's really hard to pick best storyline of all time because I think everybody's had an extremely good storyline at some point in their career.
Yeah. And to make a good storyline, you have to have a good rivalry. So who's had the best rivalry ever? And probably has Chris Jones. Your original answer was Chris and Tommy, which was pretty fresh at the time, so I'm kind of surprised you went with that.
I'm going to have to pick probably something that involved you and Hazard, honestly. I feel like I would have to pick something like that, because I feel like you guys are both big guys, so you guys don't necessarily go out there suplexing each other and stuff like that. But you guys are able to go out there and put on the story that you need to, regardless of your guys' size.
Yeah, I think there was a match in 2020, maybe, where it might have been even a Ground Zero, where Hazard and I worked a match. It was just a singles match, and I think we had a fuck finish or whatever. It was just storyline builder. I think, actually, it might have been 2019. I think it would have been 8 Deadly Sins and limited edition feud. And him and I had a match. We literally went out there and had a 5-minute match and did nothing. Like, we literally just did nothing in the match. It was just the laziest fucking match we ever done. And we got so much praise from the match. And we were able to tell the story that a lot of, especially newer guys, and we have a lot of new guys in XCW right now, that haven't really grasped how to tell that story in the ring. So I can agree with that. So I know the answer to the one part of this question. The most convenient location you've ever competed in is probably the one next door.
Yes.
But what do you think is the best location in XCW history? You've been in quite a few.
I'd probably have to say the one at your mom's house and probably this one.
Yeah, Mildred Street.
Mildred Street was extremely good.
Man, if we had the ring when we were at Mildred Street.
Oh, it would have been. Oh man, it would have been so good. The only issue probably would have been the ground there, because it kind of kind of dipped.
But I think part of the reason it dipped was because of hard asses. But
man, I can't believe we kept those mats so long. Like, those mats were so old at the point we had them. Like, you could bump on it, and all it was ground.
Yeah. Your original answer was Mildred Street, but I agree. I think being able to upkeep and like a natural flow of being in our current location is perfect. What kind of legacy do you think you're going to leave behind with your looming retirement from XCW?
Well, man, this is just something I don't think of. Sometimes I kind of feel disheartened, because sometimes I feel like nobody ever comes to me for advice or anything like that.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, nobody ever comes to me for advice. I guess the only thing that I would hope to leave behind is people want to be better than me, to do better than me, to better themselves in the ring and be the best that they can be.
It's crazy that you think that way, or that anyone would think that way, because like when people talk to me about like the guys that they're just like, who are your stars over the years? Like, Chris Jones is number one, and I just think of you as number two. So I mean, it's kind of surprising that anyone would kind of think that. Your original answer was a legacy that people will want to follow. So it was very similar. What about XCW as a company? What kind of legacy do you think this company is going to leave behind?
I think this company is going to leave behind, like, it's, to me, one of the best backyard shows out there. Yes, we have some people in the ring that are, not very good, but they still go out there, they put the effort in. And it helps that you have people like me, you, Chris, even though Chris don't wrestle no more, but like, we were able to go out there and help those people put on a good match and actually make them look good. I think the legacy that XCW is going to leave behind is everybody's going to remember it. Like, period. Yeah. It's going to be a remembered thing. We're going to talk about it for years to come. And like, we're going to be old and we're going to be like, man, don't you miss like wrestling in the ring and stuff like that? Like, we're going to talk about like the old matches we used to do, go back, watch old shows.
I mean, at this point, I think as long as we continue to get the younger generations, like the Miana Diaz's and the Brogans and ACTs and SATs and all those guys that are significantly younger than us. I mean, we have guys in our group right now. I mean, Brady Branson's, he hasn't even hit the 25 mark. So there's so many young guys in our company right now that this could go for years. We don't have to participate in a wrestling capacity to be a part of XCW. So this could go forever. Who knows?
I'd probably say another thing is that if you want to contribute to the legacy of XCW, you need to start taking your training seriously.
I agree.
You need to start wanting to be better in the ring, and I'm talking about people like ACT who won't take a suplex. You need to get out there, you need to train, you need to take that suplex and know that you can be better than what you currently are, because I believe you can be.
Best backyard wrestling company, period, was your original answer. How has XCW impacted your life?
Oh man!
And I mean, you got to think about your personal life in 2009. You sit at home and make sure that you organize that iTunes perfectly.
I did that all the time. I don't have an iTunes anymore. I mean, I still have my iPod.
I still do.
I use my phone for music all the time.
I have Spotify now.
I'm at my point in my life now where I have Claire and now I have Rowan. I have 2 kids. For a good portion of this entire run that I've had, really I haven't worked a whole lot because honestly I've put XCW first and foremost, and that's rough for me because at this point my family should also be first and foremost.
Boy, I've been doing both for years.
He's been doing both for years.
Killing me.
Yes, it's killing him. But I love XCW, and I've tried to put it on my back and carry it the best I can as well. So, staying at home, not working, leaving jobs because of depression and stuff like that, and because I was more worried about the show, stuff like that is how it's affected me. Just that doesn't mean I don't ever want to not be a part of XCW. That damn cat.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, pussy.
Get out of here. Yeah, get out of here. Oh, and we're back. But I mean, I feel like that's some of the biggest impact it's had on me. But I mean, I feel like I'm part of a family here. We're all family. We're friends. I've enjoyed my entire time here, even though there's been some up downs, arguments with people in the show. We've had an argument before. That was before the death match. We had a big argument. I know that.
I know that we kind of had I don't even know. You probably won't remember it either. But for some reason, I know that UIW was probably involved. But after 2010, when XCW kind of went away and didn't come back until July, we missed the whole second half.
Yeah.
Of the season after SummerMania. Me and you didn't speak at all, and it was weird. I don't know if we had a falling out or if we just didn't. It was weird. We ran into each other at Taco Bell at one point.
Yeah.
In between, and it's oh, hey, by the way, we're starting back up in March.
Yeah.
And it was just like that. And it was just it was so weird. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm kind of...
But your original answer was that it made you more social because,
yes, it still does. It's made me a lot more social, so I'm more talkative than I used to be. But still, put it on my back the best I can,
So with all those things you just mentioned, what is the best thing that's come out of XCW for you personally?
Best thing, all my friends, all the family that I've made, and all my friends I've made along the way. I mean, some people. Obviously don't talk as much. I'm real good friends with Stevie Goebel, but we really don't talk a whole lot anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like I've lost a lot of, maybe not friends, maybe they're acquaintances now, but I've lost a lot of people over the years because I'm the guy that runs the show and everything's my shop, my call, and I feel like I've lost a lot of friends over the years just based on XCW alone, and that sucks because despite what Brandon Hobbs may think, the fact that he didn't agree with what we were doing with the show, he didn't agree with a certain situation, I get it, but for the fact that he now has deleted me, blocked me on Facebook, and there's no line of communication between us, that hurts. After him and I, we met each other in 07, 08, and been through this whole XW journey all the way up until 2021, and for us to lose that kind of contact sucks. Vapor, I gave that guy a place to live a couple times, and really thought that I helped him get on his feet quite a few times, and there's really no line of communication. Dylan Bostic, don't talk a lot. There's a lot of guys throughout the years, and I'm just damn, even Carnage, I feel like Carnage wouldn't have been where he was in wrestling without my kind of, push at first. Yeah, he would have never met the guys that made him an actual pro wrestler, referee, or whatever, without, the influence of XCW to kind of put him there. So, yeah, off my soapbox now. I just think that that should go out there. I mean, I hope that those guys, the Brandon Hobbses of the world, watch this and know, hey, I have no hard feelings. He doesn't have to be a part of the company to be my friend. But it is what it is. Your original answer, friendships, absolutely. Proudest achievement in XCW history, and it doesn't have to necessarily be titles or stories or anything, but What can you say out of all the time in XCW is something you can just really hang your hat on?
I would have to say anytime I'm able to go out there with somebody that's struggling in the show and make them look good and help push them to the next level that they need to be at to better themselves.
And I think that has become kind of like the memo for like me and you and Tommy Merriman and Kurt Acid and like, Kurt Acid, like he didn't have the best matches this year. He wasn't necessarily the big star, but he helped get Patrick over as a baby, and it worked. He's helping getting Jaden Tucker over, and he's being rewarded now by being able to work on top once again.
Yes.
With Jesse Justice, and I think it's the same. What comes around goes around. I helped out Venom earlier. So did you. Brogan O'Shea, I helped him. I helped Desmond Cross. Something don't work. I do. So
I do feel there is a time though if we're helping the talent like that, but if we're losing all the time, it also diminishes what we can give to them. Because then if we don't have anything to stand on, like winning or anything like that, but if they beat us and we're on a losing streak, then I mean, what's that mean for them really? Sure, we went out there and made them look good, but they beat somebody that's constantly losing. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I get it. Double-edged sword there.
Yep.
Where did you come up with your name and gimmick?
I believe we talked. You said something about this earlier. Me and you were outside Doc's.
Yep.
And we discussed. We talked about Corey Taylor.
Yep.
From Slipknot. So we used Corey, and we just decided to use my middle name, which is Lee.
Yep.
How did we come up with Die Hard? It was some other wrestler that had it.
Die Hard Dustin Lee was an independent wrestler. I don't even know. Well, we just kind of stole it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have, but.
And nowadays it's.
I haven't heard of him since.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And I mean, we don't really use Die Hard a whole lot nowadays.
Yeah.
It's usually just XCW Salvation, which is something that I really kind of pushed for.
Yeah.
Because we kind of went into that motion of putting kind of that in the storyline. Like, it was a surprising way to do it, because then, like, beating Chris and beating EWW, like,
right.
really solidified the XCW Salvation.
Right. And then, we even used it within your storyline with Brogan O'Shea, and boy, that was a story told there. And it was bringing out the old Corey Lee, and it made for some really compelling promo work and awesome. All right, this is the question that everybody always has the same answer for. People who say wrestling's fake.
It's not. Come try it. Same answer every time.
Just look at your knees.
Yeah, look at my knees. Look at my back. I've hurt my neck too, but it's not as bad as everything else.
Yeah,
it still works.
My left ankle, my knee, and my lower back, and my left hip, and my right shoulder. I'm just surprised I lasted as long as I did before getting injured. I broke my right foot. Thanks, Brady. Yep, all Brady's fault. I've been caught on fire. I've been hit in the head by genocide and made fucking stupid for a couple days.
That reminds me. That's the one match time I've actually never had, an Inferno match. I've never done.
I think there's only just been the one match, the one Inferno in XCW. They don't work.
They don't.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you here on Freetime Interview. Thank you for joining us once again. We will see you next time here. Sure. Yeah, you're a good time.